Hi, I'm Matt, here in Michigan.
And I'm Randall here in Texas. Today is Christmas Eve. It just so happens it landed on a Thursday this year, so we thought we'd bring you a Christmas movie. Last year we did Jingle All the Way. Make sure to go check that out if you haven't already seen it. This year Matt and I are doing The Santa Claus, 1994 film, starring Tim Allen, Eric Lloyd, David Krumholtz, Wendy Crewson, Judge Reinhold, and it is directed by John Pasquin. John Pasquin's done a lot of TV directorial work, including Family Ties, but he has mostly worked with Tim Allen on Home Improvement, movies like Jungle to Jungle, and Last Man Standing.
In The Santa Claus, Father Scott. Wow, tongue-tied word. All right. In The Santa Claus, Father Scott Calvin is at home with his son when Santa Claus falls off his roof. Calvin reads a card in Santa's suit telling him to put on the suit and the reindeer will do the rest. In doing so, he becomes Santa Claus. This movie had a $22 million budget and earned more than $190 million at the box office. It has positive to mixed reviews from critics and average reviews from audiences. It has led to 2 sequels and was released in select theaters over the Thanksgiving 2020 holiday. Randall, I still enjoy watching The Santa Claus. What do you think about The Santa Claus?
There's no way around it. I'm pretty nostalgic for this film. It came out at just the right time for me, and I really still enjoy it for the most part. The biggest thing for me is that it is this wonderful feeling film. It doesn't pretend to be anything but like a more or less happy film, but it's telling a different sort of Santa Claus story than like the previous, classic Santa Claus movies. I think it hits a middle ground for me. And again, the nostalgia factor plays into it big time. I watched this a lot as a kid.
Oh yeah, same here. I watched this a lot as a kid. We quoted this movie quite a bit as a kid too.
You killed him.
Did not.
Well, one thing, looking on it, this is another one of those movies that watching it now when I'm older, I definitely picked up on different things, and I enjoy different things about this movie than I did when I was a kid. Some of the things that we quoted and stuff when we were younger, those parts aren't as big for me now. Like, I do have that nostalgia, like, oh yeah, I remember quoting that. But now the parts that make me laugh are the more adult parts of the movie. So I had a little bit different of enjoyment watching it this time around.
Well, I mean, any good movie, not just necessarily a Christmas movie, that's aimed towards kids also has to be like, all right, who's taking the kids to the theater and, play to them. I think that's probably part of what made Shrek so successful. This does a pretty good job of that, but there is one thing in it that I definitely, upon this viewing, just didn't really like, and that's poor Judge Reinhold, who plays Neil, the psychologist. He is just a punching bag for Scott Calvin's jokes in this.
That's how he feels, Neil. Come on. Nice sweater, buddy.
Now, at the end, he goes all Santa Clausy and more or less makes up for it. He doesn't really apologize. I wasn't a fan of those jokes in particular, but I did like some of the more adult humor aside.
One thing I didn't really like about this is kind of like the custody stuff. So Scott Calvin, Santa Claus, just lost custody of his kid and then pretty much kidnaps his kid. But I guess he gets away with it because he's Santa Claus. But really, I think that's taken a little bit too lightheartedly. The idea that Calvin took his kid without letting his wife know or Neil know where they were going and stuff. Big no-no, and they just kind of played off as a little bit of like laughs and stuff, which could be a very serious situation.
That's Bernard's fault. He's like, "Can I go?" And Bernard's like, "It's okay by me." And like, you don't know what's been going on the last year, do you?
No, exactly.
Kind of leads me into the next thing. Like, what's interesting about this is that it does take place through like over a year time span, so you get to see this transformation of the character that Tim Allen plays, Scott Calvin, into Santa Claus. And I love, for the most part, the special effects have held up very well about like how his weight is changing.
Okay, look, so what? You put on a little weight. A little weight? Does this look like a little weight to you?
And the doctor's trying to, examine him, and his heart's doing the jingle bell jingle. Like, I love how it transforms throughout the year. But then you get back to the little girl that saw him the year before, skinny Scott Calvin Santa, and she's missing her 2 front teeth, and she's still missing her 2 front teeth at the very end a year later. I'm like, oh man, production value.
They must have filmed those on back-to-back days.
I'm sure they did. Why wouldn't they? There's no reason to bring her back for the end of filming. Just film them all at the same time. It's something that you wouldn't really care to catch as a kid, but I definitely caught, like, as an adult. Like, man, she hasn't aged at all.
I definitely agree with you on the special effects. I think they did an excellent job with, like, the Santa Claus transformations and stuff. I even think the North Pole was pretty good. Nice set piece stuff. The only special effects I really don't think held up at all were any time where there was, like, wide shots with the reindeer, whether they're, like, landing on a roof or flying, or that one time when Scott Calvin is walking with Charlie in the park and there's all the reindeer behind him. It's like, yeah, there's definitely some kind of, like, green screen effect or whatever going on here.
Yeah, or motion effects for that
Or
matter.
motion
Just, like,
effects, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the most
Well,
part, I think it held up pretty well.
For the most part, I think it held up really well. I really do enjoy, and I always enjoyed him as a kid too, the animatronic, like, reindeer, and how Comet has an attitude to him. Like, I'm the leader of this bunch of reindeer here, and you need to show me some respect.
Are you growling at me?
We recently did a review of Jingle Jangle, and I said one of the things about that film was that it's a trip back to the magic. This Christmas film has magic throughout it, which I always enjoy. Like, the bag is magic, the chimneys are magic, the elves are magic, and long live the North Pole is full of magic. From, like, a perspective of how I expect a Christmas movie to be made, with all of the joyous and magic things of the Christmas season, this nails it, in my opinion.
Oh, I love how this movie says, it doesn't have to make sense really to a kid. And that's kind of what, this movie basically based on and stuff. It's a big push between, like, the adult thinking, like, oh, this is logical. We have Neil talking about it, like,
how can one man in one night visit all the children of the world?
Not everyone celebrates Christmas. And I think there's some sort of time continuum that breaks down what stands in the sleigh.
yeah, they point out, like, hey, it doesn't have to make sense to kids. It's the whole idea of, believing in that, having that magic kind of thing. That's kind of a similar theme between the two movies.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be remiss in saying that there was definitely one thing this time through that I had completely forgot about. Just like in Jingle All the Way, I forgot about the black market Santa Claus stuff. I completely forgot all about elves. The jailbreak scene with the elves with attitude.
We're your worst nightmare. Elves with attitude.
I'm like, oh my god, how did I forget about this? This is hilarious.
But like I said, those are one of those things, like, it's still enjoyable, but I think those were elements I enjoyed a little bit more as a kid. I think the elves are still cool. One of the parts I didn't like as much as, but when they have, like, the cookie and the hot chocolate maker, whatever, in the sleigh and stuff.
How could I have done this without you, Charlie?
You couldn't.
It's good that it has all those different elements and stuff for different age groups, and that's one of the things I like about this film. And, this is a movie that's still enjoyable for me. I still laugh quite a bit at this movie, even if it's at different parts and not the same parts as before.
Yeah, in my house growing up, this was definitely a Christmas classic. I'm curious to know what our viewers think of this, if they watched it as kids and are nostalgic, or if maybe they just watched it recently as older viewers, and what they really take out of it, because I definitely still enjoy it immensely.
So if you guys have special memories of this movie, or if you haven't seen it yet, let us know in the comments below. We would like to hear from you. If you like our review of Santa Claus, be sure to give us a like. Also, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to get notified about when our videos come out. We also have a Facebook page to check out. We will post a day before our videos come out to let you know what the next topic is going to be. Our videos come out every Monday and Thursday. For now, I'm Matt, here in Michigan. Merry Christmas!
And I'm Randall here in Texas. Merry Christmas Eve, everybody, or Happy Holidays, or Happy Hanukkah, whatever works for you.
Next time on No Market Media. Please consider checking out some of our other videos.